Welcome back to the Something's Wrong Here podcast. If this is your first time, hit us up, swhpcast@gmail.com. Hit the like, hit subscribe, all that bullshit that we just beg for. We're whores. We just beg.
Please roast Ken-Zee.
Yes, send us an email. Roast Ken-Zee. See, we haven't even introduced the guest, and he's already begging for Ken-Zee to be roasted.
What the hell does fat skinny mean?
I'm Randy.
I'm Ken-Zee.
And I'm Brian.
And we have a guest tonight.
Hello, I'm Kraig.
And we are going to be discussing digging ditches pays what. Going to get into a little bit of the stigma that follows blue-collar workers.
Yep.
You know?
Support blue collar.
Absolutely. 100%.
Support collars.
Support collars?
All collars matter.
Okay.
Easy.
Hey, man.
ACM, the same thing as a asbestos-containing materials.
Sure,
nice,
man.
nice job.
I'm glad you could tie that in. That's
Construction.
good. That's good.
So we've all probably heard sitting in class the teachers say, you know, if you don't get good grades, you're going to end up digging ditches. But exactly how much does digging ditches pay? You know, in the world I come from, we dig a lot of ditches, and I know a lot of people make six figures.
Yep.
And that's not something to be ashamed of.
No.
Only 13% of the population make over 100,000.
Okay.
And to be in the top 87%, the flack that digging ditches gets, the shame, the basically parents, they don't want their kids doing that.
Well,
Can I start?
Yeah, sure.
I want to preface everything
Please.
that I think this episode's going to talk about tonight.
Absolutely.
And I want to start out with
I'm interested
for
in this.
anyone who has any knowledge of construction on a professional level or on a non-professional level, there are 50 divisions of construction and specifications. That's 50 different things that occur in every construction project. Digging ditches is one.
Mm-hmm.
All of these trades, all of these blue-collar jobs, all of this is unilaterally supported in the same way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So digging ditches pays what is the episode. It ties to you guys, Randy and Kraig, a lot. That said, this is a blue-collar, white-collar, but at the same time, the truth is we need both, right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I want to preface this is not shitting on anyone. I'm going to roast some things. I'm going to have some fun with this one.
Yeah,
I'm in
absolutely.
construction. But at the same
expect
time,
that from you.
with those 50 divisions, carpentry, the MEP trades, all of these, digging ditches, all of it, every one of these skilled labor trades is applicable here.
Mm-hmm.
None of these are better than one another. None of these are worse than
Whoa.
Okay, all right.
49 out of 50 are better than the engineers.
Yes.
I was
Or if
about
you
to
bring
say.
electricians into it, that's a whole different
I'm pretty
category.
sure there's going to be
those are
some
magicians.
caveats.
Their powers are invisible, so you got to be careful.
That's right.
They only come alive if you fuck up.
Well, so are their skirts, right? So,
Yeah.
Nobody works harder than ugly strippers.
That is true.
Oh, shit.
Case in point.
Oh, my God.
Give you that one.
I've been in this game long enough that I've seen, and I feel like I can't say I've ever seen it all, but I've seen a lot of shit. And so, yeah,
Hey.
in those 50 in the 50 specs section, so to speak, there are a lot of trades. All of them are respectful.
Absolutely.
You have to have all of them to achieve the goal.
You do.
You can't skip a process and get away.
And they're all correlate to something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Means to
There's
an
a
end,
process. It doesn't matter what operation you're doing.
Yeah.
There is another, you pick one part of that 50 you talked about, and then there's a bigger category
Correct.
along with that on the back end.
And then there's a
depending
lot
on
of
what the
smaller.
project needs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of derivatives too, and a lot of subsections within too.
Yes.
So, just wanted to preface that. Sorry.
No, absolutely.
Randy, you can
No,
take
you're
back over.
good to go.
I just
No,
want
it's
to
good.
clarify that.
I'm glad you did because I'm a white collar worker. I'm if you want to, I mean I pour beer for people sometimes part time, so that's as service oriented as it gets for me. But I spend my days like do typing. So
Fill my beer.
cheers.
No, I'm not cheering. I'm saying fill my beer.
Yeah, fuck you.
Shaking it at you.
Hey, go back here. We gave you a box of beer before. I do want to say something about that though, like this expectation, like because there's definitely something to this idea that obviously I'm a child. I was born in the mid '70s, so all I know is mine. But I know it was the same for you guys, where it's like the the message you get all the time going through school is you got to go to school, you got to get a degree. The only way to make, I don't know, the older I get, the more I'm convinced that it wasn't like my parents weren't telling me the only way you could make money was to get a degree.
Mine did.
I mean that's fair. Like I'm not, but my anecdotal experience was more like, hey, if you get a degree, you can. Well, my dad and my mom saying this to me because they both had college degrees and they both had full time. My dad was not an electrician, but he worked on vending machines. Like he fixed vending machines and equipment at the post office, like sorting machines, like stamp vending machines. My dad fixed those.
That was back in the 20s, right?
He retired in.
Is that the new?
I would say he retired maybe like 2001, 2002.
Right.
He started working at the post office in 1965. So
awesome.
He did it for his whole career. Had many chances to go into management. Didn't want to be responsible for anybody but himself.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. And you're right. And I've been in that same situation. It's like,
there's no harm in that either.
There's shitbags underneath. There's shitbags on my team that I would fucking hate to be responsible for their work product.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't mind being responsible for mine, but like what? I knew that was coming.
What?
So no, what I kind of read it in my own interpretation. I didn't listen to society's like message that was coming to me. Mm-hmm. I read it because my dad he worked physically. Like he would be up climbing, fixing, weird angles, like doing shit, and he would come home and he was beat every day.
Sure.
Like he'd be asleep on the couch. He'd get home about 4:15, 4:30. He'd be asleep by 5:30 on the couch. Wake him up for dinner. He'd eat dinner. He'd go back to sleep on the couch. I mean, it's like he was tired, physically tired all day, all the time. And I always read it as, look, you can make good money. You won't have to work as hard as your dad did.
Yeah.
You can think like, I mean, and again, like as a white collar guy, like there are days where I want to just fall asleep immediately because all I've done is like deal with fires and crises all day, but it's nothing like, holy shit, I've got to go run a jackhammer, or I've got to roof a house, or I've got to these there are things that absolutely are way more physically taxing. But my message I always got out of it was, hey man, if you get a degree, you can make the same money. You won't have to fucking work as physically hard.
Yeah.
Physically, yes.
Yeah. But again, I've learned kind of the full meaning is like you have to think and deal with using your brain all day, which obviously isn't as physically, but it's still hard.
I'll tell you what,
it's the white picket fence sale, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing.
Yeah.
We all came up with that.
Yeah.
It was if you look at the aspect of it, what the boomers made back in the 80s and how they're able to live doesn't correlate to what we have to provide today.
Doesn't quite work. Some people,
not.
I think a few places, but for the most part, I agree.
For almost 95% of America, like we can't afford it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just totally different. So now we have to put in probably 50, 60 more hours a week to live like they did.
And you have to save more because there's no like the pensions. I mean, because again, like our parents' generations, like a lot of companies had pensions.
Yeah.
Like you work, you make a pension, living wage forever, and you'll get paid benefits forever. And it's like, do you know any companies? I can list a few companies that do pensions. Like there are. Actually, weirdly, anecdotally, the company that just bought the health system I work for, if you are a certain job grade or above, which I currently exist in that space, you are, after you've made 3 years in the company, you're entitled to a pension.
well, given the title, what? I mean, digging ditches, the laborers union, they are pretty big on the pensions and everything. So you're guaranteed a pension there.
Pretty awesome thing about the unions, man. It really is.
That's
I don't
one
do
of
it, but it's still pretty cool.
They have their purposes.
Yeah.
Right.
They do have their purposes. But a lot of companies, I think, are getting away from the pension system because, I mean, me being from Illinois, look at just Cook County alone. They are, I want to say, $180 billion in pension debt.
Yeah.
I think every union still has pensions, though, and they're good to go.
Yeah.
Their side of things.
But a lot of the unions are operating right now in the red. That's going to be a problem in the future.
Yep.
I know in Illinois, we were one of the few, when I was a laborer, our labor hall was one of the few that was running in the green. There was only like 3 in the whole state.
Yep.
Now, how does that, do you know what the difference is between the ones that are red and one's black, one's in red? Like
the difference is the rep shows up wearing gaiters looking like Ric Flair
That's
and
true.
a $60,000 Rolex watch on his wrist.
Oh shit.
Now, I won't say that about all unions. I
Yeah.
won't, because I do think they have their purpose and I do think they do good things. However, I don't think we can afford them anymore.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And it does breed certain. I don't want to be negative on your podcast.
No, go for it.
they-
Go,
no,
absolutely.
man.
They breed laziness.
Bring the
100%.
straight dope.
They do.
Yeah, I know.
No,
They had their purpose when we needed them. However, now those times are done.
Yeah.
So commonly, we do work around the younger personnel that have maybe had one job before this. A lot of these kids are making 110, 120,000 a year. They don't know the struggles of working 40, 50 hours a week, making $300 a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
So it breeds laziness in the fact of, if I have to call somebody all the way across town to come mess with a certain fixture by somebody's house, I won't say what industry it is, and someone says, well, that's not my job, that's somebody else's job because he's certified, that's a union job for this particular unit, that's a problem. We're not efficient anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
So
And if there's a lot of product that shows up to the yard and we need that on the job site, and the client wants it on the job site yesterday, and it's somebody's job to be there to operate a forklift to take it off said truck to get it to said job site,
Yeah.
and we can't even rent one from United Rental because this guy decided he was going to take off, otherwise there will be a grievance.
That's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
Well, it's agility, like nimble, being like able to fill the gaps.
And that's where all of us have been flexible in every job we've ever had.
Yep.
Right?
I feel like
'Cause if you didn't do the job, they would find somebody in your place.
Yeah. Oh,
And
sure.
that's where the union struggles.
Totally get it. Yeah.
So I've been on both sides of this fence, and I've worked with a union that I really didn't care for and didn't. I lost money off of a paycheck because I fixed my own light bulb that was flickering, and I didn't know I was going to lose money off my check for it. I was
your lunch there.
I was fucking livid.
Yep.
I was fucking livid, and the company that did that doesn't exist anymore.
But that rep's probably living in Fiji right now.
I don't give a shit. Doesn't affect me. Now, I will
Not
say
anymore.
I will say local, like currently I do have affiliation, no longer in the union, but I do work directly with union boys every day. And in the bricklaying side of things, it is a good thing. And I will say the reps that we have, we've talked to them directly. They come out, they talk to us, they hang out with us, and you know, they're at our company bonfires and stuff.
Do they wear Rolexes?
They do not. They don't. You know, Alex Martinez, he doesn't wear a Rolex. I promise that. And then on top of that, they don't care if you're a non-union company. If you're a good, honest company.
Right.
So, like, shout out to Summit Masonry right now. That's a non-union company. But I will say,
And you guys don't call them scabs?
nope. The ones that we have a struggle with are where you pull in a bunch of people that are unregistered or whatever, and then you're underbidding everyone, you're undercutting everyone because you're not paying anyone legally, anyone correctly, and you're the problem. That's a rat.
Right.
Those are who our reps go after, and they go hard after those ones. I promise you that.
They're very
and,
busy.
and I will
Very
tell you,
busy.
I understand both sides of this union juxtaposition. I do, and I think some unions have gotten absurd with what they have. I mean, my first day at a union site, I watched a forklift run over a truck with the forks too high, tear a truck basically in half. It was a 30-ton forklift. Guy took a piss test and proved he wasn't on drugs, got his job back with all back pay.
Nice.
That was the power of that union.
That's crazy.
That was day one. I'm not kidding. The day I showed up for a P test and to see the site was the day I watched another guy who was submitted for a P test, and it was because he wrecked a forklift where it wasn't supposed to be into a truck.
That's like being a weatherman.
Right.
So I-
You're gonna be
Fuck
right.
up at
Like,
your job that
But
much.
again, here's the
Baseball
here's
player,
the thing.
baseball player, weatherman, same difference.
That
Pretty
company,
much.
that company's
300?
defunct.
Yes.
That company's defunct. That was
Speaking of
bad. That was a bad situation with the union. The work that I do now, though, good stuff.
so
Respectable.
the problem with unions is they have to back everybody. That is their job. And sometimes they have to back some people that don't belong on a job site, that are very unskilled, lazy, dangerous in their operations, and need to go. But because of the red tape of the union, it's really hard to make that happen. But to go back to the Rolex story, the first job I ever worked on in the labor industry, man rolls up. He's the steward. He's from works out of the Chicago Hall, but he's from Wisconsin. Has a Rolex on. I roll around the country. Wisconsin. So roll around the country with him for a little bit. Takes me out to the job site. It's about 40 miles away. He gives me a little life lesson, about taking care of things at home, being away from home, how women like to stray a little bit while you're gone. He is now serving a life sentence. They cannot find his wife's body. He's one of the first people in Wisconsin to be charged without a body and convicted without a body.
Holy shit.
So when you're hanging around with this guy, like driving around, he's like, hey, you ever heard of this guy called Ed Geins?
Oh, we talked about Ed Gein on this. We talked about Ed Gein
the Plainfield Butcher,
Wisconsin,
huh?
man, Plainfield, Wisconsin.
Yes.
The Plainfield Butcher. No, he did not bring that up, but yeah, he got caught.
Did he have a leather belt on with like nipples around?
It was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
So Ed Gein, he only killed like 2 people.
Grave robber though.
But he was a grave robber, and he liked to rob body parts. Wild Bill.
Pretty good seamstress though, right?
Yes, he was. He had the full cape made out of skin. He had light shades. He ate cereal out of
That was the inspiration for Hannibal.
Hannibal.
The inspiration for Leatherface.
Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
There's multiples.
Yeah, there's more.
There was a good seamstress in the Human Centipede too. If you're
Jesus! Stop! God
Go
damn
back
it!
to your guy.
Jesus
Go back
wasn't
to
in
your
that
guy.
movie.
So he is one of the few people in Wisconsin that has been charged with murder without a body. They cannot find his wife's body. He will not admit to it. But he got caught because the GPS in his vehicle and a film from behind a grocery store. Basically, what got him caught, his wife's shattered cell phone he threw in the dumpster.
Oh, like the last corroborating piece of
That
evidence.
sucks,
of her.
right? Like nobody wants to get caught by Save-A-Lot.
It's
Right.
We talk about it all the time. Like the
Don't
idea of
go
like
to the
perfect
secondhand
crime.
grocery stores. They will fuck you every
Stay
time.
away from food and stuff.
Yes.
Food and Stuff is a good store.
Zero evidence of him committing a crime.
Ron
The only
Swanson.
thing they had
Ron Swanson was always hamburger or food and stuff.
he shattered his wife's cell phone with a hammer
Oh no shit.
And they-
and
got
threw it in a dumpster behind a gas station.
I think it's hysterical because they can just pull that body of that cell phone and pull out like specific pieces off the board and
All of
and
it.
Everything's there.
All of it.
Fellas, we're off topic. I just
Bro,
realized
We
it.
live off
I know.
topic, bro.
We do.
All right,
So-
so Randy, take us in here.
The average school loan is $40,000 for a bachelor's degree, and it takes 5 years to get a bachelor's.
Is that that seems
That's the
I honestly
that's
seems low. It seems
when
really low.
when I researched it, I thought it was really low. So if you're looking at paying that back, you're looking at about a 15 years, about $400 to graduate. You're looking at a starting salary of a bachelor's degree at $68,516.
Yeah.
And that's at bankrate.com. That's their information,
great
which sounds
wage.
about right. And
When I came out, it was like $15,000 a year.
Right.
I'm gonna preface your bullshit old jokes.
Back in '62.
back before electricity.
So I started-
Back before electricity.
I started in junior college. A semester was $1,200.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about. What? So you're doing 15-hour semesters.
15-hour semesters.
4 or 5 classes.
About $100 a semester hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that was 2005.
Yeah.
Not 20 years ago, I guess. I guess
Hey,
I
to
just want
give you a comparison, in 20, I got my master's in 2015, and it took me 2013 through 2015. It took me about 2.5 years. And at that point, I'm just giving you a data point, really.
Yeah,
sure.
At that point, my tuition was $300 per credit hour. So for every class I did, it was right at about $1,000 per class. And yeah, it was about, and I think that my work paid for every bit of it.
So,
Which is that's still that's. I mean,
I have an
He got the
immediate-
boomerate.
Hold on,
He
let
got
me
the
finish
boomerate.
this real quick, though.
Okay.
So the graduate enters at $68,000 a year
Yeah.
with a $40,000 debt. That equates to about $50,000 with interest that they have to pay off over 15 years. The skilled labor can enter the job force at 18.
Yep.
Depending on the job. I mean, you're looking at a minimum of 60,000 starting out.
Okay.
A lot of jobs, depending on where you're wanting to work, where, how, if you're willing to travel.
$30 an hour. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
What construction are you seeing at $60,000 minimum?
Where? Everywhere.
I can point to people locally that aren't making 60.
What are they
Which
doing?
ones?
Welders. I was blasted when I heard it.
What?
What?
Yeah. No, I'm fucking serious. I'm not gonna.
I think
I'm
they're
not gonna
like, you
call
need
out
to
a
find a
company.
different company.
I'm not gonna call out anything or anywhere. But I
are-
know I can tell you right now. I was blasted when I heard it.
Welders
So-
are the highest paid in the labor industry.
Right. And the trouble is if they go 1099 and don't make a right deal, they could potentially get a very bad one.
I don't know. I don't know the ins. I don't know the outs. I just am telling you. I was a little baffled when I heard it.
A part-time welder should be making six figures.
Yeah, when I went to topside welding school, and I was that was probably around 2000, somewhere in there.
This guy's fucking old.
Again,
Like I
Those
am,
guys,
dude.
those guys.
No, it would have been 2000, like maybe 2003, because you're only like a year older than me. I graduated from high school in 2004.
So it's 2000, 2001. I was in East Texas. Went to topside welding school. Got certified. Pipeliners back then, they're making a killing
Yeah.
already out there in West Texas, right?
Crude oil.
So I did that, and then I did structural welding, building trailers, manufacturing back in Oklahoma, so on and so forth. MIG stick flux core, and then I got into underwater welding after that.
Oh,
As a
shit.
diver.
Yeah.
And then I was a diver for a good 15 years after that.
Oh, that'll
Scuba
pay
diving,
pretty
man.
decent.
Love
Yeah,
scuba diving.
so my experience with it is welders make their own deal, right? So it's one of those things where I know some people in the natural gas industry, in town distribution work, that some of these guys are outstanding welders, been doing it 30 years, and they do a 1099 deal and they're making $30-$40 an hour. So it depends on where you come in with which contractor, right?
And that's that's where I'm saying all the union welders obviously are getting paid when they get through that program, and people that are trained are getting paid. I don't know the true honest specifications of this exact job description, but I do know that I know where welders are not, or they are making just under what you just talked about as a minimum, which is why it set a red flag. And again, I'm on your team going, wait, welders are making the...
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy needs to get paid for sure.
And it was a little crazy.
Give him my information, and I'll get him a job.
So to finish up what I was saying, though, is that it takes an average 5 years to get a bachelor's.
Okay.
That's the national average.
Yeah.
So you're starting 5 years in.
It's really sad that's national.
I know. So at 23 years old, you're starting 50,000 in debt.
Yeah.
At the minimum. That's the minimum.
That's the very minimum.
And you're entering the workforce at 68,000.
Yep.
By the time a skilled laborer is it the same, they've already made $500,000 in debt free.
Well, I was about to say it's like
And
you
wasted it all.
Wait.
And they've wasted. I promise they've wasted it all
There
too.
ain't no skilled labor that is 28. I know a few of those too, and I can tell you right now, lifted Denali, beautiful fishing boat, and
Yes.
a beautiful little cabin on the river side of the Ozarks. But I'll tell you right now, that is a union killing it carpenter
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
He's 27 years old, no kids, no anything, and he is loving it.
Or it's the other side of it. You don't understand. I got me a badass Duramax. Or I got me a badass Cummins. That thing right there, I pay $1,500 a month on that payment with my forward payment child support. It's
somebody's getting
dude,
wrong.
the story goes on and on about these folks on the pipeline, dude. It's
What was the running joke? I promise the next one I'll save a check, or
Yes.
I promise I won't blow it all on the next one.
Please promise me one more boom.
I'm just saying, I really love listening to this because again, I was a university kid. I had a degree at 22, and I was working at Sprint, fixing computers.
Well, me too. I went to college. I did the college thing and found out that I couldn't do the indoor stay inside. That just I couldn't do it. I needed to be outside.
So let me rephrase because I totally get that. If you're in the wrong environment, I mean, if you're just not happy there and you would rather be outside working with your hands.
I went to college to be a pharmacist, started working in a pharmacy.
You're making.
That's where my story started.
You want to make
Dark
shit.
pills.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
This all day long, just counting pills.
it's like best laid
10 hours a day.
Best laid plans, right? You think something like you romanticize something. You romanticize the notion of doing this. This will be so much fun if I do it, and then you do it, and it's like, this is. I'd rather blow my brains out than do this.
Hey,
Right. And it happens, and it becomes a business, right?
Because
That's case
definitely.
in point is the reason why this topic means so much to me is because my daughter's like in her 3rd year, right? Mm-hmm. And she just needs to finish. She has about $65,000 in debt at a well-known university nearby.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where she just lacks just a little bit.
What's
but
her...
she changed. She was medical. She was pre-med.
Pre-med.
Had all the AP classes. Did very well. Was very well vetted.
Yeah.
For this. Changed her mind that freshman year.
Yeah.
Right.
Happens.
So college was different for her. So when she got in, so when that happens, now it's just the business aspect of it.
Yep.
So now, are you going to pay $80,000 to become a teacher?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, essentially, that's what we're looking at.
I totally
and that's exactly where this topic is
Yeah.
it's education needs to stop being a big business.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I was going to throw out there.
Can I start?
Sure.
I want you to do this, but I'm going to do it as the guy who, like, I was raised to. I'm going to university. It was always that going to be that way.
You're
And
right.
I think if I would have wanted to do any
that's not a bad path. Don't get me
trades,
wrong.
I think my mom and dad would have been like, that's cute, like, great. I know you might want to make money, but that's not your. And maybe they were speaking out of
You want
turn
to work with
for
Ed
not
the
knowing
plumber?
me.
Go ahead.
But that was kind of what it was. It's
Right.
like you're Brian. You're really intelligent. You have the ability to do all this stuff. Don't get their message is more like don't get caught up in the minutia. Don't be down here at this level. Be up. And it wasn't like a status. It was like if you can do things that are. I mean, okay. Let me rephrase really quick.
I get where you're going with that, and you're exactly right. It doesn't put anybody up or anybody down.
Yeah, it's
case by case for that person.
Yeah. So what I think about like in my job, to make it real quick and easy to understand, is like when I started in computers, I was just fixing computers. Going to your if you sat at Sprint and you were a knowledge worker and you said this isn't working right, I would come sit next to you and figure out what was wrong and fix it. Okay. And I was really good at that. Really fucking good at that. I saw all the patterns, saw all the repeating things we'd have to do every day. We have to do it 10 times a day. And my team.
So you see like Neo and Matrix?
Not that. Well, in that context, kind of in that abstraction, yes. But my team lead told me, he's like, look, man, the job you're doing now is tailor-made for folks that can just kind of look at something and fix it. Mm-hmm. But you don't see it at that level. You see it at the level where you could automate this to fix 100 people at a time instead of one. And it wasn't some grand compliment. It was just that my angle on the whole vertical was here, where all my peers were here. Well, I need to go out and put this on this machine. That's what they were thinking. And I was thinking, we have tools. We could fucking automate this.
Right.
And we could do this for 1,000 people at a time in 5 minutes. Why are we not doing that? And I instantly moved off. And that's where it became. But I don't think of it as like a better or worse or higher or low. I don't. I think there are people that are geared towards. Fuck you, onesie twosies. You guys have asked me to define that last time. Onesie twosies. But there are people that are like, there are people that see the bigger picture. And I just think it's a matter of like abstraction and perspective. I don't think it's a matter of who's smarter. You could be a genius and do onesie twosies all day long and everybody will love you. Or you could just see a different area of the field. And
do you wear your onesie to bed at night?
No.
So let me go.
I will say I agree with you 100% on that, but I will say nobody eats unless we execute in the field.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. We need all those roles. All those roles are absolutely necessary, and I saw that.
And there's less of them all the time.
Yeah, and I never knocked the cats who are out there on the field doing the onesie twosies ever.
Sure. My issue is the quality of the ones that. You remember how we used to take people under our wing, and you were like, "Man, this is gonna be a good hand. Like, I'm gonna train him up. He's gonna be awesome. Like, man, the litter,
Jam up.
The litter is not not looking good.
It's not.
And it changes, just like we were talking about earlier, just about the children and where we'll all end up while we're in the homes later on.
Now, has it gone down over time? Are we are we seeing
it's horrible.
digression?
It's horrible. It's worse than digression. There's not a word for it.
Collapse.
It's a collapse.
I think there's three
Catastrophe.
bullet points that we could all maybe hit on here.
Go ahead, Matt.
We've got a lot of anecdotes. We've got a lot of stories. We're all involved in this, obviously, and we've all got an opinion. But let's take away some three takeaways that I've got here. You guys tell me where I'm wrong.
I would love to tell you where you're wrong.
Number one.
All three.
Number one, we need people.
Wrong.
We need doers that are out in the field laying the block. We need people pouring concrete. We need people digging ditches.
Absolutely.
We need people laying pipe.
Doers.
We need those people. We need the higher education people to
Foot by
design
day,
and
inch
put
by
those
night.
things together at a level to make sure that we have computer systems that are helping out with
Absolutely.
these things and
100%.
helping out with this. What we don't need on that first point between higher education and potentially speaking trade education. I don't like no education or lower education. I prefer trade education.
Sure. It's all education,
labor.
man.
Yeah.
It's all education.
You want to know what I have the problem with?
What's that?
Neither of those need insane rates from student interest loan companies coming after you predatorily and in basically collusion with higher education, wrecking a systematic generation gap. Because
Preach it.
right now we do have a problem. Now that's takeaway one. Okay, so tell me where I'm wrong there at the end of this.
Do I have to look at two more of
Number two, if you're in construction,
Oh, man.
or you're an engineer, or you're in software, or you're in anything, there is a grass is always greener mentality. This is 2024. Our phones, our computer screens, our everything is connected to us.
Yeah.
We know too many people. So as soon as you've heard someone else's story, the grass is greener. That's construction. And then on the third and final takeaway
Yep.
that I have on this whole thing, I guess it's overall cooperation, and it comes back to game theory. If we all cooperate and you have the trades doing what the trades are supposed to do, and obviously there are going to be misses by the higher education design team, and the trades talk to the design team, and often it's resolved very peacefully.
Yep.
Now sometimes you have attitude, because obviously we have attitudes, right?
It always looks good on paper.
There's always
It always looks good on
play
paper,
too,
but
man.
and
Egos
I
play.
also like to say that you can learn to swim online and all that stuff, but I also you can also
Upside analogy.
He loves it.
The best
It works.
engineers start in the field.
exactly.
I think so too.
But we don't do that anymore.
well, no.
Unfortunately, it's
The best
Who can I get for the
engineers are
cheapest?
able to. The best engineers are the ones who not only understand the math, the theory, the practicality of the bookwork, but they know the practicality, the physical, the getting out there and welding something together, the bolting something together, the
And-
actually working with their hands.
and the workflow.
Yes.
That's most
It
important.
needs to work in an order.
Workflow
there has
equals
to be an order.
progress.
And
Order process.
I will tell you this, and this is a quote from the best engineer I've ever met in my life.
Does that exist?
A good engineer.
Yeah, what's his
Shit on
name?
engineers a lot.
A good engineer will tell you there is no perfect engineering. It's all in time.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's all adaptable to the situation.
Because I'll tell you this. You can knock engineers all day long, and I do too. I have fun with that, but
He
I'm
does,
also
I
on the
promise.
same team. But at the same time, if I said, hey, Randy, go build the next motor for the fucking Fiat, you're up. There's no engineers to do it because we don't have any more of them. So you're the first on the list, smartest guy we know.
Yeah.
You'd be
Fiat's
really
the
good
first
for
one I don't
that.
care if it
You'd-
goes.
Okay,
Really
Randy,
good for that because their engines are shit, but their brakes are awesome.
Absolutely. I'm good on brakes.
1 out of
Right?
2 ain't
But
bad.
you can
dude.
understand
I'll
and
tell you what.
appreciate the concept of
2 out
if you
of
don't
3 ain't bad.
if you don't want to do somebody else's job, which is where I'm at. No one wants to come in and do the work on the computer in my field.
Sure.
So my thing is, at work, people have a really hard time finding me. I keep hearing a good hand's hard to find, so I make myself really scarce.
I like your approach.
Truthfully, dude, I think you might get a camo wrap on your truck just to blend in.
There we go. Hell yeah.
No balls on the hitch.
No balls.
Oh no, he's a beanless chili motherfucker.
Forgot about that.
So how do we do it in Oklahoma? Is there beans in chili?
As far as
In Oklahoma.
beans and chili, you're gonna have to elaborate.
Do you put beans in chili?
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put beans
Thank
in
you
chili.
so much.
Dude, I love.
You guys just hate
Dude,
Texas. That's your problem.
I'm a
Thank
fat
you.
kid, right?
I
I'm a
knew
fat
I
kid.
was talking to a
No,
goddamn man over there. Thank you, sir.
You're helping us. No, we're not anomalies. The anomaly was right there.
He likes a lot
Is
of
that
shoes,
an Illinois
too.
thing? Like you guys don't put
No,
beans
it's
in chili?
Texas.
It's more Texas,
Them
but-
boys.
Irregardless of where you're at,
Anyways, on the beans.
Yeah. So
Wait.
you just put. There's always a variation.
he likes
Like
meat
it's
soup.
whatever you feel that week. If you want to put some onions and shit in.
likes-
it.
Oh, yeah, you put the onions out. Yeah.
yeah, for
Meat
sure.
soup
Get back
is
to it, host.
Meat soup is a perfect.
God damn it, we're on chili now. How did we get to chili?
That's your fault.
Right? It is your fault.
I made a beanless chili joke.
So yeah, for the conversation, it's very important that everybody at least has an interest in a trade, learns something to fall back on. It's almost imperative because with the amount of jobs that are out there and the way, I don't know if you guys have talked to anyone that's been on the job hunt, and with the current market, a lot of these folks have a lot of bots answering things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or you won't get any answer at all.
Yeah, the gatekeeping is crazy, dude.
It's more than gatekeeping. It's like a whole nother spectrum of we're posting a job, but it's glad handing. We're gonna hire somebody internally, but we're gonna let about 1,000 resumes come in. We're not gonna call one of you
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's to cover their legal basis.
100%. And the I fear for my daughter and my son because they will have to figure out how to navigate that. So by having as many trades possible under your belt, and I learned this pretty early when I was in my late teens. If you learn a trade, you'll never go hungry.
Oh, I agree totally.
And if you learn 4 or 5 of them, you'll always be successful.
You'll do fine.
You'll be
Okay,
successful.
Let me ask you a question. On what you just said, this is something that I've learned too. How many tradesmen just know one trade?
Not many.
Like,
Dude, they're all
I don't
jack
want to
of
say
all.
zero, but
I like that you
fuck,
guys say
there's a
that.
lot.
That's cool what they do.
There's so much crossover in
Yes.
construction that, like, my, a future person in my life built from the ground up, whole house they live in, and people are always like, "What? He did it all?" Like, yeah, it's not honestly that tough if you know what you're doing.
Hearing some beats.
Oh yeah, we got a little
Somebody's
background
thumping.
beats.
Somebody's
outside.
rocking the thumping downstairs.
Thumping.
Neighborhood.
That's outside.
Oh,
Some
fucking-
subwoofers.
Resident old guy, get out there and go yell at him.
Right? Get off my grass!
Exactly.
Is that fresh enough for
I
you?
heard you talking about Swope Park.
No.
Trick Daddy showing up right now.
No shit. At the lake,
Yeah.
like Swope
But
Lake.
I will argue, like, tradesmen have an incredible inherent.
Well, that's the thing about the unions
Overlap.
is that when you start, and then you have to become a card-carrying member, you have to go through concrete as a laborer. You have to go through concrete. You have to go through. I'm not even going to try to list them all, but you have to go through multiple classes.
Yeah.
And then you go to work, and then you come back for 3 weeks, and you go to their school, and then you go out to work, and then you come back. It's a 2 to 3 year process to get your card to say, hey, I am now a laborer, or I am now an operator. You have to labor more than the operators, but you have to learn all these separate trades to become a skilled laborer.
You're talking to a failed bricklayer,
All
baby.
right, can I ask all you guys a question?
I'm a
Because
dropout.
you guys all have worked in these like blue collar trades, like trades that could be unionized, right? Okay, labor trades, the construction trades. It's funny to me. I don't want to denigrate anybody because I respect anybody that's fucking highly skilled.
I guarantee that we've been talked to where it's on the job site and what you're about to say.
it's all there, and I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, you guys
rude.
think you're mean to me?
Well, the funny thing is, it's not this. This is all based off an observation I have of one of my coworkers.
Go ahead.
Who I have in my specific role doing what I do. I have been very, very lucky to work with people who I consider to be highly skilled in that domain and highly skilled enough that they could be like innovative in the domain. So they could ask questions about what we can do that people haven't asked before.
Right.
So we're innovating. We're like making things better. We're using all the tools, our toolbox. We're taking our toolbox and we're improving things based on the possibilities with our toolbox.
Yes.
I work with a guy who has worked at my company roughly about a year longer than I have, who after he's been 14 and a half years in December, and he is competent at that. Okay. He's okay at it. He will never be an innovator. Okay. He will never be an innovator, but he can do the job quite well. He's fine at it.
Are you going to leave
interrupt
that
here real
on
quick?
a note? On his car,
No.
Let me speak to the others in the room here real quick.
Yeah.
He's got himself a pair of boots.
Oh, whatever. It's
You
not
understand now,
to me,
fellas?
that's not what that is, because he has his own shit and I have my own shit.
This is what they get.
Okay, I don't have to interject in his. I don't have to fix what he does. I never do. I'm not responsible for what he's responsible for.
Sure.
But there's this, what I'm trying to get to, which is different than what you think I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is when you deal with somebody who is a well-rounded worker in your field. Okay. Now that field, I'm making assumptions. I don't know. I'm operating from ignorance here. So please correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm making the assumption that somebody like Randy, if he was a laborer in the field, could perform several different roles in your field of specialty. What I've always put forth with my coworker, who's I think is a fucking idiot for all intents and purposes, but I can trust him to do the job competently, is that there are some things, whether it be white collar or blue collar. That's what I want to set this up. Is it the same way in white collar or blue collar?
Absolutely.
Is it the same way? No, that you can absolutely train somebody to be competent and they'll be fine going forward, and they'll be fine.
And it becomes drive, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to learn? Do you want to be a sponge?
Do you want to be great?
Do you want to step up, and do you want to be that person?
Okay.
So just because a company hasn't done something for a while, or if they used to do something but then laid off of it because the market changed, do you want to be that new manager that comes in and says, hey, I've got all these contacts, I'm about to run with it?
I've got guys who can do that.
That's me. Yeah. That's what I do.
Love it.
So it's you're going to have all those employees though. Like they're going to be like that. Some people are going to be frozen where they're at, and they're fine with that. They'll stay there. Some folks are you have to pinpoint every single aspect of it.
I love it just because I like to take that abstraction out and move it from the white collar to I think that's a phenomenon that exists everywhere.
Because to speak on what you're talking about, it all transfers over. There's no reason why he can't be a president of this company at some point.
Yeah,
correct.
Or myself.
Yep.
Or him. Like
I don't know about it.
Well,
Now we're pushing it.
right. So I did see an LLC yesterday, Mac, that opened up for window licking.
That's my specialty.
Leader of the clubhouse right here, bud.
Irregardless of what you think of me, Kraig.
No, I think you're pretty sharp.
Using
I
that.
think
I
you're
have
pretty
a
sharp.
mouthful of beer, dude.
You got to understand, like the thing that I like to make sure, and I always. It's always funny to me because we need them both, right? We need them both. We need all kinds for construction. You got to have it.
To what Brian says, and I think I've fallen under a little bit of each one. I've been complacent, and because I was making good money, and I didn't need the responsibilities of anything more. I've been in the position where I've taken on more responsibilities for zero pay increase. Because I knew it was best for the company, for the best for the roles that I was playing.
You fill the gap sometimes.
You fill the gap, and then I've gone above and beyond and given my advice and everything else when it wasn't needed or asked for, just because I saw a need for something. So what you're saying is, yes, in our industry, there are people that will never be more than what they are now, and it has nothing to do with their mentality, or it's all about mentality. Has nothing to do with their intelligence. Has nothing to do with their capability. It has to do with their drive. They
100%.
They could do it, but they won't. They are complacent. They find that what I'm doing is okay for me.
I can make that money regardless. I'm going to make it doing what I'm doing.
How far are you willing to go?
Yeah.
Do you want to put your mark on an industry?
Like, I'm an asshole, so I like if something needs to be fixed If something needs to be fixed, I fix it.
Sure.
I'm pretty. I don't really care about the long-term downstream effects.
But you have 3 people.
Well, there's an issue that lies there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand. I actually understand what you're
You have to
saying.
be calculated in that.
I understand what you're
I'm
saying.
sure you are.
I understand what you're saying. It's like there are points where I think, in the corporate world can like really wedge this,
Sure
right?
enough.
Where whether is it juice worth the squeeze?
Pick the hill that you
Pick the
wish
hill
to
you die on. Absolutely. Pick the hill you're going to be Sisyphus and push the fucking rock to the top again.
Here lies Brian.
Yeah, you can do that over and over again.
But with what you said, there's 3 people. You said if there's a problem, I'm going to fix it.
Yeah.
There's 1. They notice the problem, they call somebody else. It's not my job to fix it.
Yes. Yes. Which is funny because I didn't really articulate that, but I'm feeling the parallels to your situation to mine.
There's definitely 3 types of people. Like I said, 1 is going to notice it. Well, we're good for 1 notices it, overlooks it, and walks on.
Yeah.
2, they look at it and they call somebody else and say, "Hey, not my problem. I need somebody out here to take care of this." 3, they're going to say, "Hey, we have a problem. This is how we need to fix it, and this is what we can do to make this
Let's get
better."
you in touch with the right people to do this, and
we can make it better. We can do this, and we can make this happen. Or you have the 4th person who is going to go above and beyond and fix it themselves.
Yeah.
Or the 5th person is going to call HR.
I'm triggered.
At the end of the day, ideas are easy,
Yeah.
right?
Action is fucking hard, dude.
Execution's difficult, but consistency is the hardest.
Not really. You just have to be not lazy. Execution isn't difficult.
I know, but it is for most. And then consistency
Is it
the
difficult for
absolute
most,
hardest.
or
Well, no,
are
hold
most just
on.
lazy?
I don't think
that's
it's just about
that's the difficult part of it.
I don't think it's just about the motivation of people. I think there's an organizational culture variable that's absolutely in place that it's like, oh, you want to be Mr. Barney Badass that fixes everything? When
That's
all
it.
you're doing is going like, hey, dude, this is broken, and we could definitely fix this.
Let me ask you a
hard,
question,
It's
though.
hard to find those certain coworkers that think like you do and want to move in the same direction to create a better culture.
Yeah.
So you hit the nail on the
Totally
head.
agree.
On that job site, though, there are 5 different people you guys described. And out of those 5, if they're all the same opportunistic person, so to speak, there's 5. You have the exact same paycheck.
Yep.
100%.
And that right there is your
100%.
problem. Because the guy that goes and fixes it, what does corporate like to do? Pizza party on Friday.
Here's your $20 in pay for
You're exactly
saving
right.
us this
And
much
You're
money.
exactly right.
You know, if you're union or if you're in construction right now and you are in outdoor work, oh well, good news. Tomorrow's going to be cold and you'll be off. So shut
lunch.
the fuck
Free
up.
lunch.
Like,
That
you know, to an
is-
extent, like you have a little bit of both.
The good and bad news is on that. It doesn't matter if you're union or non. We're treated that way across the board.
And what I like you brought up, and this is my issue with unions.
Okay.
I'm not in a union. Everybody that is in a union pretty much gets paid the same per position.
Sure. There's standards, steps,
It
right?
doesn't matter if you're man,
This is
woman.
what you make.
This is what you make across the board. This is the standard pay for what job you're doing. Now, I'm just not saying you, but I'm saying you. You show up. You sit on a piece of equipment. You kick your legs up when you're asked to do something. You'll do it when grumble under your breath. You get off the piece of equipment, help the people that are on the ground do the work, make things go by faster. You're getting double the production done because you are helping.
They get paid nothing.
You guys get paid the same amount. You're not making any more than he is.
So what?
There's no incentive to do what you're doing.
I fucking hate when the process goes sideways and nobody will do shit, so I just do it for them.
At that point, what you need is a good manager in charge, and I'm fortunate to have one.
But here's the problem with the union. As a manager, a foreman, he can say, "Hey, this guy needs help." Not a laborer.
I've
I'm an
got a
operator.
grievance.
Okay, different strokes in different unions.
I've got a
We're
grievance.
gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
That said,
I've got a grievance.
with
Grievance.
regard to like where I was going with my side of that, I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
Yeah, you'll have that. But yeah, there's no incentive for you to go above and beyond. You're not going to get in trouble for it, but you can get in trouble for saying, "Hey, he needs to get off there and help."
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because he doesn't have to.
All right, I'm back.
That's the state of the being, though, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you
In a
guys
way.
probably all make more money than I do a year at this point. But I'm responsible for 5 or 6 states and probably about 120 jobs that are going on right now. So that's part of what you bite off,
Yep.
right? And then you try to create a bigger area to make your own position.
Super abstract though, right? I mean, because it's like you can't look at it as, and again, please, like, let me know if my angle is weird, because I look at it as like you can't look at it if you how many, you said 10, let's say 10 jobs, okay? How many people per job?
10 jobs
On an average,
2.
like 2, 3, like
looking at ratio.
Yeah, sure.
That's 1.5 people.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking
Well,
about.
it
Like,
depends. So usually you'll have
To make it easy,
an
we'll just say
inspector.
5.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. 1-to-1 ratio is what we like on
so-
jobs, but for inspection. But you generally get about 2 crews per inspector.
okay, so if you're responsible, like, I'll give you the like
I've got
for
3
like
right now.
I'll give you the like for from where I work. Like, they don't want supervisors. Like, anybody in management leadership, you're not supposed to be over more than like 8 to 10 people at one time. You're not supposed to.
That's the goal.
Man, that'd be awesome.
And it doesn't work
the
that
people
way,
that
though.
and the people that are over that, I'm telling you, like, people are in the management, like the layers at my company. It's a pretty nice wage for managing maybe 10 direct reports. And
bet
I'm
it
talking,
is.
and I'm saying this as a guy who, like, my manager does nothing to manage me. Mm-hmm. And my
Because
manager
you
could
take care
listen
of
to this, and
everything.
he would laugh at me saying that, because he doesn't have to. I self-manage. My policy is give me the tools to do my job and leave me the hell alone.
I would say that
Is that enterprise?
Oh no, it's not. It's
They give you the tools to be successful.
healthcare, but that's what it is. That's what
Right.
I want as an employee. That's all I want. Like, give me the tools, let me do
Yes.
the job.
Before we go forward, I bet you can relate to this, because there's probably certain individuals that you don't talk to for a month and you know there's no issue, but there's some that you have to talk to a couple times a week.
Right. And you get to know that everybody personally.
Sure.
If you're going to be a good manager, you're going to know their families' names.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you're-
absolutely.
And you're going to keep up.
Yeah.
So when you get like 30 plus direct reports in numerous states, it becomes a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you make it it's more than a job at that point. Like,
Yeah.
you eat, breathe, and it's
part of your life,
sleep
dude.
and breathe it. Yeah.
It's your life, bro.
But at the end of the day, it's still just a job. So you have to be able to disconnect yourself from it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you never take PTO.
It's very difficult
You
when
put in PTO.
you connected with a lot of your employees and you have personal relationships. It's hard, dude.
You put in PTO, but you never really take it.
It took me 20 years to put the phone down and not stress and
I'm so glad-
freak out
I'm
walking
totally glad
away
you said
from
that, because even me, I've done what I do for almost 30 years, and you know what? When I take a Friday off, you know what? I'm off, but my phone's on.
You're gonna
my
check
phone
it.
stays
and
on.
my,
You're gonna check it.
my laptop's in the car.
Yep.
And I own enough stuff for a major hospital system that if there are things that go down, I have to move, or all our doctors can't do shit.
I feel
Quickly.
bad for you
Quickly.
guys.
Exactly. And that's the same thing. If Randy or anybody calls, like, it has to be done right then.
I
Gotta stay
will
in front
also
of it.
say, like, kudos to my boss. I don't know your situation on the
Yeah,
the
dude,
cruise,
shit.
you know. I don't give a shit. My
I'm just
boss
giving you a hard
knows.
time, man.
I can look my boss in the eye and say, "Fuck you." Take a sec. Come back to me, and he will. And he'll step outside, take smoke, come back. That said,
I like your boss, though.
my boss is also the same guy. When you're talking about the guy who's out there screwing it up and not willing to go fix it, he fixes that. We remove the guy. And
Yeah.
that's that. We
what
don't
you-
have
that's what you gotta do, right?
We have no issue taking someone who isn't willing to go above and beyond off of our crew, because our crew does. Our crew is usually the crew that's out there kicking ass. That's why we have multiple jobs across multiple,
That's awesome.
cities, etc. And
Those are hard to find these days.
yeah, but
Yeah,
then, you know what?
build them. Yeah, build them.
You know what?
Yes,
That's
sound
actually, you know what's hard to find? A good manager nowadays. Someone who knows, because I'll tell you right now, I feel bad for everyone else. My boss, when I leave, don't answer your phone. If I call you, it's as a friend.
That's a gem, dude.
No, I'm fucking serious. I'm serious. It's
My
the
boss,
only reason
dude,
I work there.
I want to tell you stories about my boss. Like, I was on FMLA for having my fucking second child, and my fucking boss called me 30 minutes after my fucking son was born, asking me about work shit. And I'm like, hey man, you're really not supposed to be calling me right now. Like, I'm on FMLA. It's not legal for you to fucking call my phone and ask me work questions.
Sure.
I'm
But
in
that's where you should have had fun with it.
Yeah, I kind of did.
Because if he said
Brian's an
because
asshole. I know he had fun with
At
it.
that point, he couldn't fire you if you took him astray.
Yeah,
You're on FMLA.
my boss kind of
So
knows.
you already have that.
I gotta,
So
yeah.
here's a quick anecdotal for you. My previous boss, we were in Chicago, and we were walking into a brewery, and I got a phone call, and I missed
What brewery?
Off Color,
Okay.
and I missed out on.
Screw you, Jeremy Danner. That's a beer from that brewery. Love it. Just want to drop that.
Thank you.
Love Lafleur. He's a good guy.
Almost all of that experience I missed out on because I was getting reamed by a boss that I'd sent an email with all of the information, but he was too busy out buying bourbon on a secondary market to read that email.
Oh, even better. Even better.
So I'm on PTO.
I mean, at least he was doing important things,
Here we go.
Doing the Lord's work, man.
Yeah.
right?
Irregardless of your thought,
Here, anyways.
Angels share.
what I will say, I don't work there anymore.
It's the Lord's
Regardless
work.
of your thought.
But my new boss calls me. I'm in Ecuador with this same person. I'm in a pool taking an edible, drinking beers, and he calls me and he goes, "I'm so sorry. I know that you probably sent it. I cannot find it. Can you help me find this one file?" I said, "Sure, bub. I got you." And he goes, "What do you got? You guys having fun? You guys doing good?" He felt bad for taking 2.5 minutes.
Isn't it weird, like the approach, like the style of approach?
And-
like, look,
and I'll
I
tell you
need your
right
help
now.
really bad.
But I will tell you that my boss is the same guy who, if you're out on the wall, if I'm not doing my job, he will come straight to your face and say, "Hey, we have work to do.
Get your fucking
This
shit
is
together.
one strike kickball. You just had a strike, so let's go ahead and figure this the fuck out."
I'm glad you brought that up because we floated around the idea too that for a topic, is a happy employee better than an employee that is fearful?
Yeah.
I mean, what is the motivator? Is it better to have a happy employee that can go to work, be happy, or is it better that they know they can't fuck up or they're terminated?
That's a hard.
I don't want to deep dive into it, but I just kind of wanted to get your thought on
If
that.
everybody was the same, that'd be
Depends
one
on the
thing,
job.
right?
What makes you fearful, though? What constitutes fear?
Not eating,
hey,
not
hey,
having a roof over
What
your head.
motivates you?
Huh?
Once you're past the, I mean, to all due respect, once you're past the, I can take care of my living. Okay, roof over my head, food for my family or myself, whichever that is. Like, once that's achieved, I think there's a real, it's a real anecdotal, like, variable thing, because there are dudes who are like, hey, once I can pay my rent, you can pay for some blow and some whiskey and hookers, I'm good. And then there's folks that are like, you know what, man, they're more Spartan, they're more austere, they're just say, hey, I just want to be paid what I'm owed.
Yeah.
And they and even then that can cascade off to what is I'm owed mean.
He's on to something there because, like, you have the honeymoon phase, right? You hire on, you put the best foot forward, you already passed the interview and everything else,
Okay.
and then you basically do what's expected, sponge up all this stuff that you need to learn. You brush up on that, and then you go cruising, and then while you're cruising, you become that guy that he was just talking about. Now I've got my bills paid, I only need to perform this much.
Yep.
Bottom line.
That's when the PTO, the time off, the sick leave, the
Right.
No call, no show here and there.
That's also the same guy that's going to already, if he's smart, he's already going to pinpoint who the players are, who the key players are, right? He's already going to have what he thinks he knows, depending on how much exposure he has to upper management, of where he's going to be,
Where
he
his
or
fit
she is going to
what
be.
the fit is, right?
Right. How far will I make it here? Right?
Yeah.
So they already have that involved. So once that happens, then they set a precedence of Well, a lot of times they're going to say, fuck it, I'm going to do this and I'm going to continue to work my side businesses, so on and so forth. In this day and age, you have to have something or two things, maybe even three things sometimes on the side.
There's always a side hustle.
Dude, it's nasty now. It's not.
Hey, man, hey, I'm a software engineer and I have a fucking side hustle.
Dude,
like,
you
I have a
can't.
side hustle.
You
Like,
can't
it's-
just give it all to one anymore, right? Like it's,
My wife's just happy I'm getting paid for the side hustle.
Look,
Instead of, like,
if I'm gonna have to
So
pay
you're,
for
so you're
five
not
different-
prostituting yourself out on the corner for free anymore?
No more free prostituting.
If I gotta pay for 5 or 6 different services providing the same service to stream on my TV,
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to have 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah. I need more.
To put it in perspective.
Yeah,
Especially if you like.
Does that make sense?
If
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
like anything that plays on Bally Sports, which by the way, Bally listeners, go
Hey,
fuck
did you know?
yourselves.
Did you know? No, hold on. Did you hear that? Hold on.
Deep throw.
Quick tangent. We'll get back to what we're talking about. Bally Sports no longer owns the rights to Royals games.
Correct.
What about the Blues?
It's FanDuel.
Nobody cares about the
No
Blues.
shit.
Don't care
FanDuel
about the
bought 'em.
Blues.
They don't own the Blackhawks, so it doesn't matter.
FanDuel
Yeah.
purchased them.
FanDuel purchased Bally Sports contract. They're going to be Royals games are going to be an add-on to Amazon Prime.
Right.
Interesting.
Another
Jake Paul.
add-on. Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully not
We'll
the
see what they say. If
the
it's
$400
Dude,
add-on.
if it's $10 a month to do that, I'm being. I know that it's probably not going to be more expensive, and I get it. But I'm going to do the good faith. Like I'm gonna do the good
MLB
faith
should not be
interpretation.
more than like $5.99 a month.
No, absolutely not.
I
like
don't.
$2.99.
But then again, you're also talking about a fucking like, for instance, the NFL is a single entity, so they share all profits. Like
Yeah.
all the clubs share profits, and somehow MLB got differentiated from that. And it's like, oh, LA Dodgers, their fucking contract obligation is like $350 million a year, and Royals is like $70 million or $50 million a year, and it's.
Well, it's just gotten stupid.
Sore subject.
Look at
with me too, because I really want to watch the Royals so fucking bad. I
look
wanna
at
watch them
Soto's
bad.
new contract. They
765 over like 15 or
15.
something.
Hey Brian,
15.
do me a favor real
Yes,
quick.
Ken-Zee, Gen-Z,
Circle
Ken-Zee.
Can you take a really deep breath and make sure to get it all out so that you don't change the system overnight?
No, I won't. I won't do that anyway. I
all
was
right.
pretty
So
sure
I got
wasn't going
I got a question for Craig though.
to. Oh boy, Craig, prepare yourself.
You ready?
Take a
Deep breath. So we hear all the time about the gender pay gap.
Think about your back end.
We hear about the gender pay gap a lot. And as a person involved in the hiring process, what % do you see applying that are female into this industry?
Into our industry, oil and gas. You're starting to see a lot more of it. How do I say this? It's there's a lot of engineering positions, coordinator positions, admin positions that are starting to float in, and that's a good thing, because I think that's the female workforce has a lot to offer.
Absolutely.
I really do. I know a lot of female chiefs on transmission that would dude, like, if we don't take the trash out, like if you're with her and you don't take the trash out at night, like you're gonna get your ass kicked.
What's chief on transmission for those? of us who
So
don't know?
that's like the GF or the superintendent on most jobs.
Okay.
No,
Like the boss
get your shit
Right.
together.
running
Yeah.
it.
El Jefe.
El Jefe, running it, knowing the thing, coaching everybody, doing, taking care of the client aspects of it, being that buffer in between.
So
to
essentially
make,
a project
make sure
manager.
the job, essentially a PM.
Soft skills, fucking making sure
That-
shit's
all
day
getting
long
taken
soft
care of.
skills.
White collar calls it a PM. Blue collar calls it
Project
whatever.
manager.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole different thing. Oh,
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
PMs.
I feel like I'm a little attacked here, but it's
No.
it's cool.
I mean, that dude. That role fucking that role abstracts above all kinds of shit.
So the reason
So much.
I
Somebody
feel,
can bust balls, really.
So the reason I ask is because I don't see it very often, but the ones I do see, you could probably attest to this. Like I know of one that retired last year. That woman she scared me. She scared me a little bit. She would kick my ass.
Are you talking about you worked with her personally in the area?
Yes.
Hey, dude, I'm gonna.
She was tough.
I'll do a callback to a previous episode if anybody wants to worry about conceptual continuity. Temple would say, like Jeremy Danner's wife, dude. If you work for her, you didn't toe the line. She kicked your fucking ass, dude. Like she's hardcore. No, she really is. She's not a lilted violet, dude. She's not gonna talk about how her feelings are hurt. She's gonna tell you right away what you did and what you did wrong and why you should fucking fix it and what you need to do better next time.
But you have to do so in a proper management role.
Yeah.
I'm all about equality, but this is where it stops. You have to treat everybody as you would treat anyone.
Okay. I would totally agree
So
with you.
this is my issue. When certain people of a demographic or a gender get into a role, you still have to treat people as if you would treat them if you weren't in it.
Treat them with respect, man. You gotta treat them with
100%.
Because you're on a production rate per day.
Well, we aren't. No.
Well, you're on an inspection, but like the crews are on a production rate per day
Yes.
for
I think
commercial construction.
What he means a principle thing is like, dude, we need to keep this shit rolling. We got to be
Yes.
fucking ethical to each other.
And it goes back to the mean grounds of, yes, I believe everyone should have a voice, but when you ask for equality, you need to expect equality.
So what I think
Meaning, Kraig Keith doesn't get recognized for a motherfucking thing. I don't need a day for this. I don't need a day for that.
If you're the different version, don't expect to fucking recognition.
I show up to work. I do my job. I go home. Nobody knows who I am. I don't need anyone to know.
And you
who
get
I
paid,
am.
and that's your
recognition.
I keep my
recognition,
family,
dude.
and then we go back to the hills.
No, hold on, real quick. I want you to keep it in mind. No, I love it. Like I have a coworker who's been in IT in Kansas City a lot longer than I have. He's in his mid-50s. He's highly certified. Like he could go make $150,000 a year doing a lot of things for a lot of companies. He can do anything he wants, man. He really can. And that's like his whole thing is like, you walk in and you can't treat the people you serve like your certification or your title deserves the respect. You deserve the respect, not the fucking title of the certification. 100%, and it's like, and that's, I mean, I think that's a really hard thing for people to differentiate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Mac, how many GFs do you have on your job?
GFs is in general foreman?
Yes. Or like superintendents or however your hierarchy works.
So we've got foremen. We got three. We have three different foremen running our crews.
So in that, going off of what he said, is it one of those things where, people idolize that person, or is it more of a...
No, and the reason that I say that is, and I'll throw out a little shout out here to Joel. Best foreman I've ever seen on any job site I've ever worked. He's younger than me. He is the first guy to go to the shitty, dirty job. Does
he have a high school diploma?
Yes.
Because you're so young.
He will have... Jesus.
I'm 47. You make me sound like I'm a senior
So the knife right there he chose to stab you with was a paring knife. It was really short.
So
and he's still hurt.
You're talking about the guy that's out there doing the mud mixing, the dirtiest job on the windy day where it's in his face.
Right.
This is the same guy who's driving the lift, fixing the lift under it when the hydraulic starts to bleed. This is that guy. That's his job because the machine has to run for the job to work. And he's driving the machine and stops working. Does he pull someone off the wall or does he fix it? He fixes it. That's his foreman job.
Right.
So he's not idolized. And going back to a little like anecdote of what you threw out there earlier, it looks good on paper. Let me tell you a beautiful part of the project manager from the desk side of things. You give me 5 people at a production rate and you tell me what they produced. I have a goal for every single person. I don't give a fuck what name's on there. I don't care what gender is specified. I don't care what your weight, your size, your sex, your age, any of it is. If I have a production rate and I need 80 block a day and you lay 60, we will talk.
We got a problem.
We will talk because all of a sudden my job is in danger because I bid you to be fucking better. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I was told you were going to be.
That's what I expect.
Right. Yeah. And no, that's what I was told you were going to be. Not that I expected. No. This is what I was told.
It's an expectation based on what? Right. What I'm saying.
And so where I say it is when it looks good on paper, sometimes it is better to see it on paper because then all I see is what did you do?
I really like that you bring this up, like, because this is real world shit.
No,
because everybody sees this through a fucking lens.
That's a different bid.
And-
You may be the best premier provider in the nation, but if you're not put together a certain way, you won't get a look.
Yeah, it doesn't translate, right? It doesn't come across that way. I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought it.
And it does need to be. There is some change, most definitely, that needs to happen there. However, it doesn't need to be like a lot of these companies do, where it's. How do I say this?
You're gonna step on toes no matter what.
Step on them. We'll help smooth it out.
They put a face forward. It's not what it is.
Yeah.
They put a face forward to get a bid.
Well, isn't that kind of indicative of this? No, hold on. Yeah, let me one real quick thing. Isn't it indicative of idea that the fucking idea, like the concept, and I'm spitballing, and it's that it's all about getting the first foot in the door and making the promise. When it's when ethically, it should really be more about what can we do and what can we do the right way.
We've moved,
because business capitalism is funny like that. Like, oh no, don't worry, I can do this cheaper.
It's
blah,
cutthroat.
blah, blah.
I know exactly what I think you're talking about.
there's that.
What I think you're talking about is when you are looking at a bid for a job and you have to have a participation goal for WBE, MBE, SD via or
what do these mean? Help us
So
know.
they're all the small business certifications, women business owned enterprise, minority business enterprise. All of these things are now part of the big jobs.
Yep.
They're part of if you're going to be in a construction field and have a $500,000 contract, you've got a 50-50 right now, better than, in my opinion.
It's a
you're going to have a
representation thing, right? You want representation.
Well,
all of which I agree with.
And I don't have a problem with that. But the problem is, I work for a company owned by a guy, and we buy materials from 3 different people. Fortunately, 2 of those are WBEs, but without that, what are we going to do? We don't get to bid.
Yeah.
We don't get to bid because we're qualified to do the job, but we don't know someone in the right legal stance for us to buy from
there's some
or
qualification
work with.
that doesn't fit, right?
And to me, that is absolute absurdity. The system that we've built where you can have the most qualified team, qualified group of individuals who are doing good, landing the fucking work.
100%.
But you exclude them.
We can get canceled.
Because, hold on.
Ready to go.
What you're saying,
Ready to go. Premier provider.
So what you're saying is
held up by red tape.
But what you're saying, though, is that you can literally have a company
painful, dude.
off to the side who has no credentials, no nothing, but has a female that is willing to sign off on the
Shadow
corporation, and they get preferential treatment, which is true.
That's crazy.
And I don't have a problem with them being considered and everything, but there are larger corporations who are taking advantage of this, and they are not being truthful with the fact that this female is a major role in the company, and they're using him as a face.
What do you think
They're
is new?
inflating it, right?
So
it's not just female. It's female. It's veteran. It's everything else that goes along with it.
I love your terminology.
Well,
And they're faking it.
the other,
Yes,
the
it's
other
a face. Essentially,
I'm all for them owning these companies and getting preferential treatment.
You wanna
Definitely
know
front
this-
for getting jobs, right?
The struggle that I have
100%.
with it is it's the bigger jobs and it's the commercial side of construction that is running into this. So when you're building a hospital, when you're building a school, when you're building things that
Public interest things, man.
things where
Fire department
at the
building.
end of the day,
things where ADA regulations are very important.
Yeah. actually means something.
Let me do better for you. Let me give it to you in the system of absurdity.
Go ahead.
Things where when you fucking get there, you don't give a fuck who built it. When you get to the hospital because you need a hospital, when was
it
the
the right
last
way.
time you asked, I'm sorry, who built it, who participated, and how? Never. Last time you dropped your fucking kid off at school, did you ask who built it?
this school?
No. But I will tell you on a side note, you go down to Moore, Oklahoma and look at the tornadoes that have walked over there, and they walked through and they pulled the masonry contractor for all the schools because they didn't collapse, they didn't fuck up, they didn't break. They pulled that team and said, this is our school team.
like what you're
You
doing."
protected children.
That's funny you mentioned
Love
that.
it.
It's a very fine-edged sword, but it's absurdity that we have built it into our system where, again, we are building things that you do not objectively fucking care about when you get to that building or infrastructure piece, you drive over a bridge. Do you care what built it?
Unless
you
it
care
breaks.
if you fall in.
Unless it breaks.
You care
Unless you
if you
fall,
fall
unless your
in.
fucking bridge
And
crashes.
then it's, who am I suing?
Exactly. And that's
Litigation.
exactly
Thank you for
where I
your
was going with this.
service. If it goes south, who am I suing?
And let me
Who
go.
am I serving?
Let me go directly into that right there. Your litigious side, that's your white collar, blue collar dichotomy. Because you have engineers who have to design the building into specifications, standards, UL ratings, fire ratings, etc.
Right.
And you can't do that on a napkin. And there's no bricklayer, carpenter, pipe fitter, any of them out there who want to go work behind the computer and draw the goddamn building up.
Which all
Now,
contributes to skilled labor.
And I will tell you right now, it takes both, but the fuck up is that you have accountability. And the shit rolls uphill, because if you built it wrong here, it doesn't matter anymore, because the inspector missed it, and their company boss missed it, and then the QA of the GC missed it, and then this guy didn't get it, and then the owner still got fucking paid.
Hey, you know what that you've said though that I love conceptually. I mean conceptually, like you because you have ranted.
I don't know shit about fuck.
I'm not accusing you of ranting in a non
No shit
in a
about fuck, Marty.
in a non. I think your ranting is totally connected, and I think it's good. But what drives me to even say anything, because again, I really feel like I'm a person that's outside of their realm in this. Okay, I'm a white collar worker, dude. I fucking type for a living. I really do. I type for a living.
Me too.
And I pour beers for a living. Whatever.
Me too.
Whatever, Mister. Whatever you are. My point is like you're backing up this point that, have we gotten a place where like the rigmarole, the minutia, the bureaucracy of all this has gotten in the way of effective solutions?
Yes, 100%.
I mean,
Where he's speaking from, and his heart is spending days in cold weather, the rain hitting you. You haven't probably slept for a couple days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or slept very little.
Slept very little. You've been working 12s nonstop.
Yeah.
You keep showing up. You keep doing what you need to do because you need to feed your family, because they keep moving the sticks.
Yep.
Depending on where you're at in the specter. Right? You started out, you're like, hey, if I could make $12 or $14 or $15 an hour, I'm going to do well in my small little Southeast Kansas town growing up.
Yeah.
If I could just make $20 an hour, oh my God, that'll be amazing.
I'll be there.
Right.
I'll make like $43,000
to put that
a year, and I'll do fine. Right?
To put that into perspective,
and
in the corporate world, more money, more problems.
yes, but it all correlates though.
Yeah.
It's different problem, same specter.
Yeah.
Because when you're like, I need to make, if I can make $20,000 a year in this small town, I'll do fine. And then the time it takes to get to that, and that place, that manufacturer, that founder you worked at,
Yeah.
right? You got there, and then it was like, shit. Now I need to make six figures.
I need to make more than this now.
Now I need six figures.
Yeah.
So once you get to six figures, right? A lot of us are working oil field at this point, and a lot of us are killing it. And then you get there, and then they've moved the sticks again.
Well, then, like, what do I need to make now?
Now
like,
it's
I made it to
now it's about $225,000 to live comfortable. I mean,
Yep.
honestly, like to live like my folks did back in the, like a lot of our folks did back in the 80s. Like,
Yeah.
It's not 80,000 is the
You go
like
back
they
to-
lived good on 80 grand.
You go back to
gotta have
that.
200.
You go back to the idea of like, if you have a family with, a husband and wife with kids, can you live comfortably off one salary? Because that's what it's become. I mean, that's really kind of what the
I don't think it's possible.
One really good salary.
that big
Yeah,
shift.
and
That
I
big
mean, it's
shift
possible
from
if you're
that-
making-
One person is making
250.
250,000. Yeah.
If one person's a partner at a law firm,
It depends on your
Really
lifestyle
me
a
here.
lot too. And I mean, I will say that I've seen a lot of the guys that are bitching about how, the Cubs get more money on the check, or it's expensive out here. Quit showing up every day at McDonald's.
hey, you guys need to find cheaper hobbies.
Well, that's one of those things too. It's like quit.
If you are buying epic surf skis for your hobbies, maybe it'd be easier.
Whoa.
I'm just giving you shit. I'm just giving you shit.
Easy.
I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of them that while they're bitching, they're doing it eating at a fast food restaurant with 3 other guys, and you're like, okay,
two packs of cigarettes a day, a can of chew,
my joke,
3 energy drinks.
Was always about
You
like
gotta- you
$50
gotta
a
have
day.
those. You gotta have those if you're gonna beat the wife later.
I've made the joke. I've made the joke many times on many episodes that I saw some meme at some point on it. And, okay, if it's on the internet, it's true, right? I saw some meme that said, hobbies. If your hobby costs more than like $750 a year, $1,000 a year, it was like a super expensive hobby. And I looked at that, and I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Like my hobbies are out of hand. Like,
Yes, they don't know anybody that likes mountain biking, fly fishing, kayaking.
Scotch or whiskey.
Single malt Scotch whiskey. Let me tell you, that's not.
I spent like $10,000 last year on just kayak shit alone.
so we should all be pretty fucking grateful for what we got.
Sure,
Yeah.
I think we should.
I do enjoy kayaking,
but at the same time, like
And
we've
whiskey.
given a lot of blood and sweat for that.
I'm not arguing.
So,
I'm not arguing
my
either.
issue-
I'm saying both sides are true.
We have to have a structure in place that's going to promote our youth to think like we do,
yeah.
because we're moving so far away from that. It's becoming an epidemic that's a cancer almost in some cases, where they don't think, hey man, if I'm ready to put in the hard work. Like if dude, I watch a Goggins video in the morning, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm like, all right, I'm jacked up for the day, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
that's me.
no.
That was drilled in my head before David Goggins or Jocko or any of you guys.
Sure.
Right?
I love
These
Jocko
kids
Willink
need that
too.
shit.
Jocko's
These kids need
badass.
that shit because they want to be on their phone. When they get on a subway, they're going, I'm Stand By Randy. They're like, oh, I don't want to make eye contact, so I'm going to do this.
Where do you get success before work?
Man,
That's a good question.
That's a very good
Great
question.
I have an answer, and it's objective.
that-
I'll win.
That starts.
You lose.
Man, that starts super early, right?
No, it starts in one place and one place only. You get success before work in the dictionary.
Because S comes before W.
It's the only
That's what he's
fucking
telling
place that exists.
You think?
Success before work exists in the dictionary.
By reading the Webster.
The only thing that I'll tell you is if you think that success.
So what he's trying to say is success comes before the work.
No.
Only in the
let
dictionary.
me full circle this right now. Relative
Knowledge. is
success before work. You go put in work and become successful.
Yeah.
You'll be smart in what you do.
Yep.
You get successful
No, I
because
agree-
you
I agree with
do it, and
with
all of a sudden you've opened a fucking crypto scam and went, "Oh my god, what did I do?"
Thing.
Yeah, she spit on that thing, and I'll tell you right now, that was success before work, wasn't it?
She's about to get spit on.
That was success before
Possible.
work.
They missed a huge thing. They should have called that coin the spit coin.
Spit
coin.
Spit on thing.
Spit coin.
Thing coin.
No, just spit coin. Spit coin on that thing.
No, spit coin instead of
I agree
Bitcoin.
with you there,
Definitely.
Matt.
Definitely.
Spit coin is that Bitcoin.
Can you even say that when spitters are quitters?
Spitters are quitters.
True. It's very true.
Sorry.
You're such a misogynist.
So to move it towards the end of all this, we've kind of entered a weird stage in labor and work. The workers claim the greed of the owners and everything, that they're making too much money.
That's an easy out. That's an easy out, though.
It really is. But they're the ones that are giving them the jobs.
It also doesn't acknowledge the sacrifice that anybody that has money and resources makes towards that. And I'm not saying I'm definitely not making some.
But let me finish before you.
Sure.
So we're entering a weird stage where the workers are mad at the greed of the owners. They're the ones that are giving them the jobs. But then the owners are mad that the workers are upset, and they're the ones that are actually making them the money. When does this come to a head and kind of derail?
There is no head, because both people rely on that system to make.
It's a symbiotic relationship that just.
No, you're absolutely right.
It comes to a head when everyone that's involved realizes it takes cooperation.
Yes.
That's the truth.
And everybody has to be taken care of for the incentive and what they provide.
The hard part that comes
you
in
have
is
to have systems in place that are gonna give people the incentive.
the hard part that
keep
comes in
performing.
is this union idea, and I don't mean it to be anti-union. I'm not. I'm absolutely not anti-union, but I because the person who's putting out the capital for something to be achieved, right? The business owner, their intent and desired effect is A.
I kind of wanted to get there because
A,
a lot of the employees didn't see when they put up their house, their cars, their life savings.
They just went because they wanted the hourly pay to make that happen.
Yeah.
And everybody took a gigantic hit because they couldn't keep up with.
And that's
what
this
inflation rate
weird. Okay, I'm gonna make almost an anti-capitalist rant, but I'm gonna cut it short because I don't want to go into it. But it's almost.
And we're gonna stop him.
Well, no, it's almost this idea of like, do we really need like a symbiosis?
We do.
Because
I feel we do.
I would argue that, okay, if I'm this person who owns 100 commercial properties and I owe rent on 100 commercial properties, maybe not that many, but I mean, this is what my
just a round number, 100.
That's what my balance sheet says.
Yeah.
It's real cute to say that I have to do this to offset this. And that's a very elementary way of abstracting that, like saying, oh, I have to make sure this fits here.
It's true, though.
You know what? For all the people that are working on this side of it, if you were to say that to them and they're all your employees, I hate to say it, but they're not going to be your best fucking employees when they know that all you're worried about is making sure you can make your nut on your rent payments for your debt. Because that's I mean, people want purpose, don't they?
Yes, but
I want to know
the days are gone where you can just work for one person.
Holy shit, man!
Randy, I want to
fucking
hit
gone.
your point head on there.
It sucks that they are, man.
Go for it.
A good boss knows how to do the work, right?
I'll agree with that.
And when shit goes south, a good boss jumps in and does it, right?
I will agree 100%. I've been in both situations where a boss will sit in an office and say, "This is what has to get done." Well, we need a little extra help. Well, figure it out.
I love
and I've had other ones jump in.
I'm glad you're saying this a lot because, like, I'm a team lead on my team, and we have fences on what we're supposed to do. Okay, fences are our responsibility, as it were. I don't do identity, so I don't do security shit. I don't do application support stuff because these are things that all flow under other teams in my huge organization of fucking 50,000 employees. But you know what? At the end of the day, you know what happens? If somebody has a problem with an application and it's in my queue, you know what happens? I fix it. And I'm a fourth. I'm a what you would call, help desk is the first level. People that go
Your
to
fourth tier.
People that go to your computer and fix stuff, they're second level. Then you have people that own the apps, they're third level. And I'm fourth or fifth level at the lowest.
Right.
And you know what, man? Seriously, you know what? I don't care. It's nothing about ego with me.
Man.
I would much rather people get their shit fixed in 15 minutes with me than wait 2 days for the person 2 levels underneath me to fix it.
Yes, and a lot of times you're contacting that director of that department to get it done.
Yeah.
Right. If you're the kind of person within your field.
Both that I call those, but they also call me personally too. Right.
To talk about, to get into a little bit more support for your people. There's a lot of fights that you fight that no one sees.
Yeah, I totally agree.
There's issues that you work on that are life changing for the whole team. That if you don't make that happen, everybody's gonna quit.
Everybody suffers. They all suffer.
Like
Absolutely.
as soon as that hits and they find out about it, everybody's quitting, or they're going to another inspection company.
Yep.
Right. In my industry. So, but you can't tell them about that shit. Like you can't put that out there because it'll be, dude. It's
not against
oh my
you,
God.
for you, and the opposite though. A good boss can also bring the good people to him by just being the good example, and then word on the wall travels to others, and all of a sudden you're the hot one in town. These guys got work, they got good people, they've got a good boss.
Yes, and every situation's a little bit different.
Yeah,
depending on the region, what the client's needs are, what the team looks like, and in a lot of cases, if you build your team correctly, the team will develop within that region, and you won't have to be that person on the ground so much.
It takes care of itself, kind of, right?
All the bosses is the thankless position at the top.
I wouldn't say take care of itself. It's a lot of phone calls, a lot of coaching, because you'll have a lot of smart individuals, very smart, that are more than capable. They just need to know that they have that person that if they zig instead of zag,
Yeah.
that they got that person that's going to go up to bat.
Yeah.
You have to have that person that's going to bat.
So let me make an argument for what I said like an hour ago, which was like, when you tell me what my job is, give me the tools, empower me to do it.
Yes.
And if I have a problem, that's when I come to you.
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
All right, Randy,
I
what do you
come
got
to you.
So I got one last thing that I want to close out.
Of course he does.
Obviously,
I'm gonna bust your balls.
I've got one
Obviously.
question too for everyone.
I've
before
laid,
we
I've
wrap,
laid
too.
off.
You are not allowed
I've laid
to-
off Ken-Zee now. I'm gonna
Now
lay
you're
into
busting
you.
me. So, Brian, I'm actually excluding you from this one.
Oh, damn it!
So between Kraig and Ken-Zee here,
I've got an answer.
common theme is that blue collar workers are too dumb to go to school. What are your thoughts on this? Because I've met some of the smartest, most intriguing people in my life working these positions, and they surpass some of the professors.
Ken-Zee went to Raleigh. He's pretty smart.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not, but they've surpassed some of the professors and their ideologies, their common sense. I think one thing with the workforce that is the labor force. One, a lot of people in the upper intelligence range have no common sense,
Yep.
and I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've lived it.
We all have.
Well, it's very black and white for them. They don't. There's
Yes.
no context. Like they lack context.
So
If you get too far removed from what you're working with,
Hard to
Then-
see all of it.
Perspective is key.
you're gonna fall short at some point.
So I've seen a lot of people with common sense and extreme intelligence in this field of construction, labor, all of the above. What is your guys' thoughts that they're too stupid to go to school?
Nope.
They
They're
just
not
pick-
taught.
They
like-
just pick
if
something
you
different,
want,
dude.
if you want to take the average bricklayer and put them in college, they'll go, they'll pass, but you got to teach them right.
Well,
That's that. I believe that wholeheartedly of every person.
Dude, that's a big fault. That's a big fault in.
I don't think everyone can do everything. I
No.
think
Yeah.
the vast majority
Right
there. Yeah.
can do the vast majority.
Most things.
And I think it's an application. I think it's a drive. I think it's a level of.
but society has put this stigma that they are just too stupid. That's why they have this job.
No, that's
absolutely not.
Yeah,
They're
that's
I
pushing-
would argue that right now society is the opposite, saying that everyone can go to school. I would almost argue
Business.
that. And
It's a
what I would
taxonomy
say,
problem, classification problem.
Yeah.
Again, classification problem.
I'll agree with that.
I feel
Classification
like,
problem.
I feel like we've made more degrees because we needed more kids to go to school because higher education brought so much money to
You
the
need more
system.
specializations, too, right? You need more
But
specialization.
What I will argue is like again, there are incredibly.
I mean, we're
brilliant
teaching
people
Taylor Swift economics now.
Hey,
Well,
dude.
go okay.
I mean, she's a
talk
genius
shit.
and she makes money.
let's go look at. The,
I just don't know if it's a college course worthy.
go look at union carpenters.
Okay.
Okay, now go get an ACT, acoustic ceiling tile specialty. Go look at the Kansas City Airport. There's some pretty incredible shit there, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
I love that you
It's
brought
art.
that up.
man.
It's
I love
art.
that You brought
Yeah,
that
the
up.
shit
No,
is
no,
art.
I want to
It's
see
art.
anyone in this room go do it.
No, I love that you brought
I
that up.
Oh, we're all smart. We're all smart. So
Hold
now
on
where's
now.
the problem?
I can lay the shit out of some woodwork, but you ain't gonna catch me fuck around with some tile.
And you want to know the funny part?
I'll put a backsplash around the kitchen. Like that shit is, dude. Tile work's hard.
It is.
It takes a special person, and when they build these big, awesome, impromptu atriums and some of these special custom builds, it still amazes me because how much work it takes.
pretty cool.
It really does.
So I want to come full circle on what you said earlier. By the way, there's a old his carpenter, and he was going to lay out a jig at the airport. He had to do some geometry. That's math. Where all the continents are located, geometry.
Yep.
And
Like Uranus and all that.
so he's up, at the,
Eurasia.
he's up at the airport, and he's getting the jig set up, and he's
Oh, shit.
I'm not shitting you. It's carpenter. He's carrying a protractor.
I wouldn't shit you either. You're
Some
my
guy-
favorite turd.
Some guy walking by, making fun of a carpenter for a protractor. Guy just looks at him, just stares at him, just gave him one of those stares. Guy walks away and he looks at me and goes, That fucking window licker couldn't even pronounce geography.
Geometry.
No.
He said
He
geography.
said geography, and the whole point is there's no chance that guy understood the difference.
No chance.
And that's where I laugh, because you're talking about a union guy. You're talking about a carpenter. No chance he's smart enough to do math.
He
Can't do math.
I hate that that's a signal.
Oh wait,
man.
they can. They can do math. They can lay out incredibly complex
that's your
geometric
fucking.
shapes.
That's your shit. With
It's visual
you have to
math,
get a
right?
college degree or you're nothing. Like that to me is the difference. It's like you look down at somebody who has a fucking trade and knows their shit, and just because they didn't go sit for 60 hours at a community college or 120 hours at a university, dude. I mean.
And then was a apprentice under somebody for a couple months kind of thing.
Well, yeah.
Like it's a dying breed, and it's something that's hurting us. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the drive. There's not those people out there that want to give the hurt and put the effort out there like a lot of us did when we were young. And on top of that, the services we were paying for are now like 1,000% more.
Well, they're just not. There's
so
not
if I call somebody for a service, they're gonna say, "Oh, that's gonna be like $600." Dude, get the fuck out of here.
Well, we're all too good to do the job now. We're all the project manager behind the computer. No one's good. We're all too good to lay the brick. We're all too good to get in the ditch and dig them.
Well, no, it's
we're too good.
We all know what it takes to do that, and the truth is, in 90% of the cases, we don't know what it takes to do that. We've already convinced ourselves that we know better.
Well, you know,
at this
Eddie,
point,
he's holding
at
out
the
for
prices
management.
they want. You can YouTube that shit and do it yourself.
Yeah, no shit. Hey,
Because a lot of us had to learn different trades growing up. That's
Yeah.
what we all did sitting here at this table.
which is to say that I'm a computer guy, like I love YouTube. I
Except
fix
for
my
you,
fucking
Brian.
lawnmowers, my car. Like I do all that shit myself. I love to be able to do it myself.
Thank
man.
God for
You
YouTube,
want
Brian.
absurdity? I'll give
absolutely.
you absurdity, and then I'll be out of the. I've got my one question for
You
you.
always give us
Do
absurdity.
it.
Our controller at our company, former barista who came in, and I had put together some financial tools for spreadsheets,
It's a barista.
and I handed them to her basically digitally, and I said, YouTube your way through them and learn them. I think she asked 3 questions, and ever since then, she's building formulas
fucking
and
whales
sheets,
through
tying
the
them
sheets,
together. I
man.
mean, it's comical because she YouTubed her way through Excel at a level
Fake it till you make it.
that might now exceed my level of Excel.
Chat GPT.
Now I want to
Again,
I want to
Totally
ask
valid.
a question to everyone. What color are you?
is this the
Right
final,
now.
Is
What
this our
color-
final take?
This is from me. What color are you?
Me?
Is this
Everyone around the table.
Is this the self-evaluation?
Yeah, Craig, what color are you?
Dude, I don't know. I took one of those like 15 years ago. I can't remember what the deals are.
Wait, what?
As far as like evaluating yourself on what color are you?
Oh,
No,
you're
no,
talking
color.
about like
Blue or white?
personality
Oh,
tests.
shit,
like,
No, color. What color
Oh, dude,
are
I'm
you?
a shit stain, bro. I've been blue collar.
You're
my
a
whole
brown
life
collar?
with it. Oh yeah, super.
Brown color.
I'm a stained blue collar.
Yeah.
You said earlier you were white collar.
I mean I am a white collar because I don't really
But
work
white collar doesn't get in and fix the problems. They point to the other people
that's
that
what's
do
true.
it.
That's a
They
problem.
They'll
point to
fix-
the lowerlings.
That's a
Nope.
problem.
They'll fix problems within a
that's
structure.
if that's your definition, I am way more of a person who's like, fuck this, fuck the process. This person needs fixed right now. I need to do it.
Well, it
And,
sure
and
does.
if I don't do it, I'm going to send it right to the person that will do it.
Sure
Yes.
doesn't
But
sound
that's
too
100%.
white collar to me.
Sounds
But
pretty blue collar
that's
to
a
me.
weird.
I'm gonna go with grayish. I'm a natural
what do you do?
grayish.
It's like
do
it's
you-
like a beige.
It's like it's if you have a faded blue
I'll
that
take
gets
it.
ish whitish,
I'm
but
old.
like
Hold
it's
on.
still
Twisting.
shitty.
You totally probably listen to Rage Against the Machine on your lunch break, right?
No.
No?
I like Rage. I mean, that's my era. Probably.
He listens to the screen
He's
bullshit.
he's way more into that
I have
kind
a very
of.
wide variety of music taste. Thank you.
It's more screen.
I like the Grateful Dead, man.
I've
Oh,
always
can
not
I
screamed.
hold on? Can I ask one question really
Holy
quick?
shit!
that, and then we're gonna go to final thoughts.
We're in music now.
No. I want to ask one question before I end.
Okay.
Question, then we're gonna go final thoughts.
I'm a Grateful Dead fan. Okay, I love the Grateful Dead, and there's this thing with the Grateful Dead where Jerry Garcia said it really succinctly.
Isn't that an ice cream?
No.
The Cherry Garcia.
You're an idiot. Stop it.
The Ben and Jerry's.
Stop it. No, it's this thing where this thing where I think it's an idea that transcends across all ideas of blue collar or white collar. Okay, I think it's that once you the quote that I'm going to reference is he made a reference and it was about black licorice. He says not a lot of people like black licorice, which I don't like black licorice, but Grateful Dead fans are like people who like black licorice. Okay, there's not a lot of them, but ones that like black licorice really like black licorice. Like they really love it.
And acid.
Like there's well, yes.
Yeah.
No, my point is like
And granola.
I don't like the abstraction isn't about black licorice or acid or whatever, which is funny. It's still funny, but what I always walk away when I think about white collar versus blue collar is not there's not as much of a separation between the two as I think people want to say there are.
I agree.
Okay, you're fucking smart enough to exist completely in a white collar environment, doing a discipline that's mostly white collar, and I say the same for both of you. I'm really saying that not to be facile. I'm not trying to fucking be sanguine. I'm not trying to like make a point. I'm not. I'm saying that this goes back to what I talked about my coworker who's a fucking moron, but he's okay at what he does. Like all these trades that take these interesting ideas about what we do, how we do it, what we do to serve our customer, what we do to serve the jobs. I think there's way more to it that abstracts commonly across that than what people say there is. I think you're smart enough to, and I'll say this. I've told my wife this, and my wife laughs at me. I'm like, you are smart enough to do exactly what I do. Okay, you may not be an innovator. You may not be a person who's going to push the vertical forward, but you are smart enough to do this and understand what my purpose is and what I do it and why I do it and how I do it.
Sure.
So I always tackle these conversations like we're having, and all I see is, I hate to say it, I look at it from almost like a Marxist classist perspective, which is you can do it and you can't do it. Like there's this dichotomy of like you could do it, you couldn't.
Honestly, there's some truth to it because there's certain people that just can't do certain things.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Like kind of tactily, mentally, like they couldn't do it, or I couldn't do it for a living for a long time. But what I still say that anybody in this room, okay, nobody does what I do. If you sat with me for a month and did it and saw why I was doing what I was doing, I still think all of you are capable of doing what I do and how I do it.
I agree.
I still think all of that. And I'd like
to an extent.
I like the idea of this blue collar versus white collar career episode angle. I love it. But I love it because you could come do what I do. You may not be an innovator. You may be an innovator. You may be something who's like, we've got these fucking tools. Why are we not doing this when we do this, this, and this? We could. It's all about. I don't like locking it to.
You're not locking it to intelligence. You've got to land that plane, pilot.
I don't like locking it to intelligence. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it's so much white collar versus blue collar. I think it's more field versus management, and because in any industry there's that amount of growth you have to get to that next level.
It's like a mentality thing, like
and
how do you see it?
It's
right?
not to say that any level is better than the other. There's just a different skill you have to get there, to
progress, and then to go further, right?
And then when you figure that out, there's another one.
I like
another one.
I like where you're
another
going.
one.
I totally love where you're going. That's my final
Both
thoughts.
industries run side by side. I've found out they really have. So it's one of those things. At the end of the day, when you ask yourself, how far am I willing to go?
Yeah.
And how much am I willing to sacrifice?
Yeah.
How much am I willing to sacrifice for myself to support everybody I need to support?
So I always look at it and say,
nobody gives a shit about what you're going through.
You seem sharp. Like you're right on there with the thing you need to do, but you're also in the same note. You're also thinking like, that's great. But how can we do that better?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think honestly, what I've seen personally is I've seen you, but you're somebody that's lived that. You have been there. You have done that. You've conquered it and been defeated at the same time and all of that. I mean, I've
I can't wait to see how
You have to fail to succeed. You succeed
Growth.
before hard
Growth.
work. You succeed before failure.
Yep. Growth.
You are fucking up.
And then you have to come back
You have to fail to
pop back
succeed.
up.
stronger
Got to pop back up stronger.
every single
And the only place that you can succeed before you work is in the dictionary.
Hey,
Yep.
Waverly.
So
I
I'm
wanna
gonna
see
straight up
popping
tell you,
hard.
Brian,
Waverly.
you failed as a pilot. You landed a plane terribly.
Waverly by 5 p.m.
You are not Captain Sully. Host, take us away.
I'm the captain now.
Look at me. Look at
I'm
me.
the captain now.
You are the captain now.
Ken-Zee, final thought. What do you got? Just throw something out there.
I mean, like the real dichotomy is I think there's a mentality issue more than anything, and it is simply put. You look at these union carpenters that are making more than the project managers that are above them that are in the office with the cushy job. They don't want to take the less money and go do the cushy job. In fact, the comical thing. In my time, I've seen project managers go to the fucking field.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're
to the
making
individual
more.
contributor
I have
side.
seen that.
And here's
Absolutely.
another thing. Here's one of the sticklers that I wanted to cover earlier, and I think Brian was flying planes into the my buildings or something
Love
like
it.
that while I was trying to do it.
Great at
But
that.
one of the things that I laugh at is the grass is always greener, and it applies in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
If you work corporate, I guarantee you hate your fucking healthcare. Unless you're in the top 10, I guarantee you hate your
or if
fucking
you're a
healthcare.
hitman.
And I'll tell you right now.
shit.
I'll tell you right now.
Bam.
If you're union, you're probably
Bam.
doing all right on that healthcare, and they
Yeah.
take care of your physical body. And the thing is, there is a level of mathematical system to it, because I tell you what, we take care of the fucking people that put things in the ground and build the walls and
gotta
put
finish.
the shit up in
gotta finish
construction.
quick, 'cause I have to pee.
We do not take care or care about the corporate world. But that's a grass is always greener.
No.
Because where I've been in the situation where the benefits, we want the other benefits. Well, we want the other salary. We want the and it's
Get those. We want those.
everyone wants everything else because they're too connected because their fucking phones are in their hand. We're not driven. We're lazy. Our younger generation doesn't want to work because they can open up their phone, be distracted in 7 seconds. They can be in Switzerland looking at a fucking chocolatier.
Here's your viral moment.
And what I am telling you right
Chocolatiers
now,
are cool.
that mental
Chocolatiers are cool.
fucking breakdown.
I thought we were going to look at some naked Swiss chicks,
okay.
but chocolate, same
but,
difference.
This is a totally different episode, but you want to, like, my final thought, and it'll be a weird random cliffhanger. Look at fucking Boeing. That's what happens because you have a bunch of engineers in the office that can't go fucking build planes.
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of people in the warehouse building planes going, fuck you, pay me. And that right there, that's your problem.
Hey, it's pretty awesome that we got a Boeing manager ready to come on and do an episode with us.
I will straight up tell you right now, as soon as you get into that situation and you can't figure out how to convince people we need workers on both sides to be a team. And in my opinion, if you work on one, if you work on the computer, you better know how to do it in the real world. If you work in
We
the
don't
real
have that,
world, we don't, but I think you should. That's why I said
Yeah,
I think you should.
yeah.
Because if you get to a point where you either have people who know how to do it
It's
real,
rare,
people who
I will
don't
say.
know how to do it,
Yeah.
It's rare.
Is that
then you're going to be the Boeing space program, and I hope you're ready for a few extra months stay.
yes? And I totally agree with that. You have to be codependent as a successful company. Like, there's no way everybody needs everybody, and you have to have the right key players involved. There can't be more of these people that I'm just here to get a check.
Yeah.
Because we read way too much of that. You see a lot of that in the oil and gas industry. There's so many people
Everywhere.
that are so-called PMs, promoted, never took the test, never did that learning hours. They don't have the credentials, but if they're a project manager, okay, cool. What are you managing? Oh, well, I got a couple.
do that.
The project.
I got a couple crews. They're running a couple things out there for BP or Chevron, this and that and the other. As a subcontractor, as a third party, a lot of these folks, they get the title, but they never really practice.
Yeah.
Right. So management is not for everybody. And what I found and what really helped me was I learned from a lot of bad managers
Best way to learn shitty manager.
You have to fail. You have to have the bad manager to know how to be a good one, in my opinion.
Try to be one.
The best managers have the worst previous managers that they have learned from.
And then you will keep trying to be one. And like it never stops.
And
You
my
have
worst
to keep
manager
trying.
never had bad managers.
Hey, I love to hear that you thought about it and said, that's what I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think at the same time, the same
pretty
employees are willing to put a little more forward for the good managers because they've been through the bad managers.
Yeah.
You lay yourself out there. I think people will do something for you.
Well, I'll tell you, there's another dichotomy too, and that this is a small takeaway.
Wrap it up quick because I'm gonna get Brian.
The guys in the work that are doing the guys in the field that are doing the work, when you're in the winter work and you have outdoor work and you can schedule some indoor work and you've sold that, that's big time. That's appreciated.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you think about that, like just the
What is that? What is that?
Fuck
That
is
is
that?
big shit.
What is that?
Dude, that's when I used to run service work when I was doing HVAC out in South Lake Tahoe. Like I was out of Reno, but anytime we had like a walk-in freezer or something like that would freeze up, you have to go out and service the compressors. And like a Starbucks came up in South Lake. Oh, you bet your ass I went.
I'll be there.
They were having book club in that motherfucker, and you could have seen these women in here. Oh my god.
You were laying pipe.
Yes, no, I was trying.
Laying
I was trying.
pipe, like two ways.
If 3 inches is called a pipe, then
Hey, 1 inch makes a hell of a dent at 100 miles per hour.
You are on a time limit this time, my
Oh
friend.
no problem. My time limits. I'm the biggest hedger and pussy when it comes to final words.
Well, there's a bleep.
No, whatever. No, I think it's neat to bring my perspective as more of a white collar guy, but also to illustrate that the struggles that you guys face with building teams to do things, like just building teams to do things. Mm-hmm. We need to do this, like we need to do this. There's an element where I think a lot of the time when what we would call traditionally blue collar and white collar guys talk about that same construct, that there's some disconnect between you need doers and thinkers. I mean this. I think of this in a very, very like simple concept. I think of doers and thinkers. You have that in all verticals, okay? Because it's just like editors and writers. Like you can't be a great editor and a great writer at the same time.
Oh, that's not true. Randy is our best writer and proofreader.
Yeah, okay, your bullshit right there exactly personifies what I'm saying.
Anyways,
You should see my editing
you're really
skills.
close to a perfect team. You're forgetting the relationship builder.
But the point is, like, there's the thing. There is no, what you say is right though. Is that there's this common bridge between the two where you need both. Okay, you need somebody who sells the job. You need somebody who does the job. Mm-hmm. Those cannot be the same. Those usually are not the same people. I'm not saying they can't be. Because your best bricklayer could be a guy that sells that job too. He could be a fucking.
It's rare.
The best bricklayer could be a guy who goes out and pitches.
Because it takes a lot of time to get the relationships,
But
the
the
pitches,
soft
the
skills,
lunches, the
soft skills,
dinners,
relationships, all that
everything.
stuff's different.
Yep.
But like, we have to stop. I'm glad we got an opportunity to do an episode about a topic like this, because I want the fucking stigma that the doers and the thinkers are always going to be different exclusively. I want that to be gone. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I'm a blue collar. I'm a white collar. I have a master's degree. Like, I'm highly educated. It means nothing. Like, it means nothing to me. I'm not saying any of that as a factor of ego. I don't care.
Right.
But what I mean is that in these complex situations where you need doers and thinkers, that we need to have people that are fucking gearing themselves to that framework. And it can't be this thing where, well, I'm the guy who does this, you're the guy who just tells me what to do, and if we just follow this religiously, we'll always come to the right decision. I don't think that's the right way. I think there's so much crossover between those groups, and we, as a society, we don't want to fucking admit it. Like, that's why I brought up my fucking dumb coworker. Like, I love the guy. Like, he's one of my best friends. But the fact of the matter is, he's never gonna be an innovator. He'll never be
He's
an
one of my best friends, but I'll stab him in the eye.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's like he has use further than what he does.
I'm about to rush the cabin door to make you land this plane.
But he doesn't know it.
Sure.
Like, he sees himself as just
When
this
Ken-Zee's
one
a rational
place.
voice situation, we know it's
He'll
fucked.
never look at himself as somebody who thinks of what we can do to innovate.
Yeah.
Right.
He personally sees himself as just a cog in the fucking wheels, and maybe it's my fault for reinforcing that idea, because I honestly I've told him a few times, like, you could fucking do this. You know, you could. Probably,
I agree with that assessment, because in order for things to change, everyone has to change.
we all have to collaborate.
So if you're not innovative and you're not thinking in that direction, then nothing will ever change.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Check
Love
out
it.
episode 2 on this subject.
So my final thought on it all is,
Love it.
we need it all. We need it all.
All of it.
We need your face.
We need every bit of it. We need all this.
We need hair on the top of your
Look
head.
up game theory. Cooperation works better than defection.
It does.
Every fucking time.
It does. So
Fuck hoes make money.
yeah, fuck bitches make money. But with that being said, we need every bit of it. We need the people that are doing the work, and I just want to say that the people that I've seen doing the work are just as smart as the people that are planning the work,
Yeah.
and if not smarter.
Yeah.
And this is just from personal observation. I've met some really fucking smart, really awesome people putting some shit together.
Yeah.
That and they are the ones calling out the smart people, saying this ain't right.
That's so supposed to work, man.
I guarantee you've seen some dumb motherfucker too, and just stared at him like, just watching him like a zoo animal. Like, what's he
Hold
gonna
on.
do next?
I bet you've seen some people that you think are dumb that say things that, you know, the smart people that you should probably fucking listen to.
The smart person here is saying, "Randy, wrap it up. We gotta pee."
But I've seen some dumbass people. I'm with him.
You say I've got to piss.
So
'cause I really
before we
do.
go, Craig, take it home. What's your final thought?
I do have to piss.
The working industry and what is it like? What are you willing to put forth? How much are you willing to learn? Where do you think you are in your current craft? How many more crafts do you want to learn? There's so many stages to every bit of where somebody thinks they're at,
Yeah.
and where they're currently at in their position, right? And that may not be even the same industry 5 years, 2 years, 10 years from now,
Yeah.
right? But you're going to always take something with you to the next spot. I think where a lot of times where we fall short is this youth is a lot of times grown on what does this offer me, not what
Instant gratification.
instant gratification in their hands all the time.
Success
and
before work.
what does this offer me versus what do I have to put forth?
Yeah. What can I help?
What do I
can
have to
help them
offer?
with?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So it's one of those things where we have to really make a conscious effort to tell the youth, and I'm sorry to say this, but I've told my kids, nobody gives a fucking shit about how you feel.
It's true.
Nobody gives a shit about what you're going through.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about what's going on tomorrow. But I can tell you that your boss will fire you if you don't show up tomorrow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And people have to start realizing that. It's one of those things where you're going to earn what you get
Yeah.
to an extent, because it's not like it used to be, right? We all came from folks that said you stay somewhere long, you get taken care of.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore.
Definitely
People
not.
ghost folks all the time, right? That's a different, and it's almost proven that if we don't jump ship every 2 or 3 years, we're going to miss out on 5 to 10%.
Stagnate, you die.
Of our salary growth,
Yep.
right? It's proven fact, and I look at that all the time, and I love where I work, I really do, and I'm like, oh man, Like,
How do you jump to make
there's some
money?
serious fucking dumbasses murdering me out there,
Yeah.
right? And I hate that because I want so much more for my family and my company.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, it was the worst thing ever if you jump ship every 2 to 3 years and had
Yep.
a resume that wasn't consistent.
Big time. And so this youth changed that for some.
I think I don't think anything changed from the youth other than I think connectivity. I think connectivity came about, and the youth are what we see because they are the most.
Right.
And I think that it's a struggle.
You ready to check it out?
All right, Craig, would you come back and talk to us again about this if we had an episode 2?
Most definitely.
Randy,
man.
hit that fucking rap.